Good afternoon, everyone. For those who don't know who I am, my name is Nick Dettmann. I am one of the board members for the West Bend Theater Company. I also oversee the social media and the marketing communications for the West Bend Theater Company as well. So, as promised, this is a little live chat and discussion. So, just my volume here. Really kind of talking about what we have in store here for 2021. Obviously, as you know, 2020 was certainly a challenging year for a lot of reasons, and certainly our organization was no exception. So, really appreciate everyone that lended their support to us in any way that they did. I know we did put on a show toward the end of 2020 with An Act of God, and then with the virtual reading of "'Twas the Night Before Christmas" with Don Pontaine. Hopefully, everybody got a chance to see that and enjoyed it. So, got a lot of topics here to cover here. So, I've got my sheet of paper here with my notes. So, there we go. So we'll get right down to it. Again, my name is Nick Dettmann. I am one of the board members for the West Bend Theater Company. One of the first things I wanted to talk to you about today was, again, just reiterate the thanks for everybody that showed their support for our Bring Up the Lights campaign fundraiser that we held for the Bend in the last holiday season. What we were doing was raising money for the Bend, the downtown performance venue in downtown West Bend, for help them purchase a new lighting control board. Right now, the one that they had was very limited in terms of the capabilities and creativity that they had. So we hope that this new board, which hopefully we'll have here relatively soon, will be in place, and I think will really be a great thing for local theater, not only in local concert, is a local venue at the Bend as well. So we raised more than $4,000 this holiday season for that. So that was a huge boost for everybody. And I think we were so ecstatic that we could do that for the Bend in place of not being able to do a Christmas Carol last year because of the pandemic. So we were able to at least carry on one tradition, and that's doing something to improve the betterment of the community. So again, thank you everybody for supporting that. So next topic is, if you haven't seen, we recently added 4 new people to our board of directors, in addition to myself, Megan Bell, and Vinnie Pang. Hopefully I didn't get Vinnie's name wrong there. We added 4 more people, and those are Rick Jensen, Caitlin Krepidolowski, Naomi Tiefel, and Thomas Kelly. All 4 of them are great additions and have already done some great things already for us here as a board. So the 7 of us together, I think we've got some great minds and a great passion as well for theater and bringing top-notch theater to West Bend. So again, thank you and welcome aboard to the 4 newest members, and we're off and rolling. So kind of with that in mind, I kind of touched on it a little bit ago in terms of looking at the 2020 year. See, the pandemic, when it hit us in March, we were just finishing up our run of Flanagan's Wake at the West Bend Mason Lounge, which was, for those who were able to see it, it was a fantastic show, full of laughs. I don't think I've laughed as hard as I did through that show. Unfortunately, the last couple shows were wiped out because of the pandemic. And again, because of the pandemic, we were very limited in what we could do from a performance standpoint. And then, like mentioned before, in September, we got a chance to break in the Bend and do some live theater there with a couple of sold out shows, which got great reviews from a venue standpoint. So a lot of people got a chance to see the venue for the first time, and we were excited to put that on as well. We raised some money as well for the United Way with that show. And unfortunately, like I mentioned, we were not able to do a Christmas Carol. We had it cast. We were definitely getting the plans in place to get something going, and then just we encountered a few hiccups that we did not anticipate happening. So we just decided to, let's postpone it, and let's pull our eggs in the basket, hopefully for 2021. So moving into 2021, as I mentioned before, with all the board members that we have now, 7 of them total, we are definitely working hard already and trying to figure out what we can and can't do from a performance standpoint in 2021. There's a lot of things we're trying to put together. What shows we can do, where we can do them, when we could do them. How many, if we can do them in person or if we have to do them virtually. If we do them in person, how many people are we going to be allowed to welcome to a show? I mean, there's a lot of moving parts that we're working on as a board and trying to figure that out. And we've kind of come up with a loose calendar up to this point in terms of hopefully some kind of show schedule that we can look at. And this could be altered based on a number of different things. And hopefully we can keep progressing with the COVID-19 vaccine, and hopefully some things can we're getting a little more back to normal the way we remember it, or at least a little closer to it. So right now the hope, and again, this is subject to change, but this is kind of what we're thinking as a board, is hopefully having End of the Rainbow, which kind of details the last bits of Judy Garland's life. And so obviously, remember Judy Garland starred as Dorothy in the Wizard of Oz. So died of a drug overdose at an early age in I believe it was the late 60s. So End of the Rainbow is kind of a story about her life and about the last moments of her life and the challenges and difficulties she had. So we have that hopefully sometime late this summer. That's the hope for that. Then later in the fall, we're kind of looking at maybe Our Town, the Thornton Wilder classic story. We do have a director lined up for that. That was something we did line up last year for that. So we've talked to him, and his name's Jim Johnson. If anybody saw the Christmas Carol in 2019, he was the terrific actor who portrayed Marley in that show. So he is a veteran on the stage, and he's from the New England area, and the Our Town storyline is based on, at least is showing, it's kind of based in the New England area. So, and the Crown Office, as you kind of see across the bottom, we've got a little announcement here for you too. It's just kind of something to keep in mind as we kind of keep going through. So we're hoping for that to maybe be roughly October. That's kind of the hope we're having. And then December, we certainly are going to try everything we can to make sure we get Christmas Carol back on stage. And then from there, I know Calendar Girls was certainly one that we're certainly looking at, and we're maybe kind of thinking maybe pushing that into 2022. Again, like I mentioned before, this is all subject to change, but this is kind of an outline that we're kind of thinking of. And beyond that, we're not real sure. And it's going to be different. It's been difficult, and all the board members and I have talked, and it's going to be a challenge for us to decide how we want to schedule things and put and produce shows, and how we can welcome an audience, hopefully, when we can. There's just a lot of parameters. They're really out of our control in talking to different organizations, venues, health officials, government officials, and who will let us do what. So that's a little more planning than what we would normally do when we're getting ready to do shows for a particular year. It seems normally you just contact the venue and say, hey, these are the shows we would like to do. What dates can we do? But now we have to start thinking of, okay, how many people can we have? What venue will let us do it, and stuff like that. So there's a few more aspects that we're still trying to work through. But that's kind of a loose calendar that we're kind of thinking. We're also toying with the idea of maybe having something a little sooner, maybe something in late spring, early summer. I mean, like I said, it's the phrase I'm looking for. It's a never-ending wheel, like a turning wheel. I was trying to figure out what we can do, because we certainly want to get back on stage, and I know everybody would like to see us back on stage, and we certainly would like to see you and perform back on stage. So yeah, so it really kind of the suggestion at this point is just kind of keep up with us on Facebook here. As you see, kind of scroll across the bottom, we have a new website. Hopefully you've had a chance to take a look at it. If not, please do, and let us know what you think of it. And just kind of follow along with our newsletter. And there's ways to subscribe to our free newsletter that way as well. So we'll certainly be sending out announcements as soon as we know shows, when auditions will be, for those particular shows when those opportunities come up. If you do have some questions here, as you see it scrolling across the bottom, if you have any questions that you would like to ask me, please feel free to drop them in the comments section, and we'll try and get those answered here for you. I know we're really hoping to get back on stage this year. That's definitely the general consensus, both myself as also as an actor, but pretty much the consensus on the board is we definitely want to get back on stage in some shape, way, or form. It's just trying to figure out how and when. And I think, like I mentioned before, with the calendar, kind of loosely looking at about August for End of the Rainbow, October roughly for Our Town, and then December for A Christmas Carol, and then possibly, or more than likely, Calendar Girls will be an early 2022 show, maybe in May of 2022. So there's some pieces there where we're trying to figure out, but really kind of looking at, when we're looking at End of the Rainbow specifically, it's a small cast show, and it's something that we feel that could help us get going, because it's not a large demand for a cast. So we don't need as big of a venue for that. That's kind of one reason why we're looking at End of the Rainbow. Not to mention it's a great story, well-known story, and of course Judy Garland's passing was certainly a tragic one. I was not around, obviously, when it happened, but her story was certainly one of tragedy when it did happen. That much I know. For Our Town, that one's going to be a little interesting as well. Kind of thing with that one is not too many props are coming with that, but it's a little bit of a larger cast, so that may pose some challenges there in terms of how can we cast the show in that respect. And obviously with Christmas Carol, it's kind of the same thing. And again, we're going back to, we're really reliant on the progress of getting the COVID-19 vaccine out, and how we move into this new normal. If you may have seen how different sports venues are, for example, are slowly kind of filtering their way toward normal. Like the Brewers, what was it? I think a week or two ago, they submitted a huge report about the idea or hope of welcoming about 30%, I think it was 30 or 35% of fans back into Miller Park / American Family Insurance Field. And that's kind of the situation we're in, is kind of how are we going to be allowed back on stage with people in the seats. You know, when we did Act of God in September, we were capped at 25% of the capacity of the Bend, which was 70 seats per show, and thankfully, no, check that, it was 85 seats per show for 170, and we sold out all 170. So that was a great thing to see, that people came out and support us in the Bend as well for that. So that's really the big obstacles we're facing. But wanted to let you know that these are shows that we're thinking of. We'll certainly get announcements out there once we have them, once we have a little more solid details, such as when we're going to have it, how many people are going to be permitted in the audience, if any. Or there's some shows that maybe End of the Rainbow could be a virtual only type of event. I mean, this is just a number of questions and that we're trying to get answered as a board and as an agency or organization to get that solved. So moving into the next part, as you can now, perfect timing as the next part scrolls across the bottom, is our new website, and that's westbendtheaterco.com. So be sure to bookmark it. If you do by chance type in wbtheaterco.com, it should redirect you to the new site. So hopefully you've had a chance to take a look at it. And let us know what you think. It was a multi-month project taken on to redesign it, try and make it a little more navigating friendly. Kind of features we'll have on there is where you can sign up for auditions straight on the website. I know that's one area that we've certainly looked to improve over the years, in trying to help people make signing up for auditions a lot easier as well. We've also created some opportunities for businesses or people who would like to support shows or advertise with shows. Those we've created some of those options as well on our website, and hopefully some businesses may want to take advantage of that, whether it's be a major sponsor for a show or put their business in a program, whatever the case may be. So we have those options as well. And then just kind of a little more about what we do and what we have done and who we are as an organization. So certainly want to hear from you if you want to take a look at the website and let us know what you think. And it's also a great resource to, again, sign up for our newsletter, which is where we'll make announcements regarding show information, audition information, and so forth. So if you have any other questions, if you have questions, again, drop them in the comments. We'll just kind of move in now into the Q&A part of my little broadcast here. We did get one question submitted to me last night, and it was from Sophia, and she was asking about audition opportunities for teenagers. And well, it will kind of depend on what we can do as a show. Obviously, the one that comes to mind right away is obviously Christmas Carol, but that one's going to be a little different because, as I mentioned before, Christmas Carol last year was cast and everybody had their parts signed up. We were already getting some rehearsals in. I was supposed to be Mr. Fuzziwig, and that was part I was looking forward to as well. So it kind of fits my stature physically and then kind of my personality. So each person who was cast in a Christmas Carol last year is going to be offered the same roles this year, presuming that we do put on Christmas Carol again this year. I know that's one of the top priorities this year, is at the very least get that show going, because we know how much it means to the community and to our organization as a whole. So that's the plan for Christmas Carol in terms of casting and audition opportunities for teenagers coming up. I have to go back and look at what our town is. I'm pretty sure there's not really a good chances for teenagers in End of the Rainbow, but again, these are different. There are different shows out there that we would certainly like to try and do. If some fit what we can and can't, what we can do better, then we're certainly going to consider it, and potentially maybe that could take the place of a different show that we might have here in 2020. So it's kind of the theme is it's a revolving door. That was the phrase I was looking for earlier. Is things are going to be certainly changing frequently, and we're going to be trying to adapt to those changes as much as and as quickly as possible. So that's why I really suggest, if you don't already, hop on to our website as it comes across here across the bottom to sign up for our newsletter, and then you'll be the first to know when audition opportunities come up or when ticket information comes up for upcoming shows. So I think I don't see any other questions coming in. So did see some people drop in and watch. So hopefully this helps answer some questions for some folks. And then, like I said, we'll just try and keep you up to date as possible. The board meets once a month, and we've got another one here coming up in a couple weeks. And hopefully at that time we'll get a little more solid ground in terms of what direction we're going to head here in 2020, or excuse me, in 2021. In terms of shows, auditions, and other opportunities to be involved with the West Bend Theater Company. So with that in mind, again, just thanks a bunch for following along here today, but also thank you so much for supporting our organization. We truly do appreciate it. And we certainly hope, we can't wait to get back on stage. I know I'm itching to get back on stage whenever that opportunity does arise. So until next time, everybody stay safe out there, and we keep up to date with us at the West Bend Theater Company. Thank you again for your support, and we'll talk to you again soon. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.